Hey, hello, everyone. Welcome to Father, Son, and Holy Football Weekly NFL Show. I'm G-Man. That there is T-Money coming to you live this time for August 13. Action-packed NFL show, keeping you up to date and in the know around the NFL. This week we've added fantasy segments. We've had fantasy segments. We're going to be adding big bets soon, so get ready for that as we head toward our second full weekend of preseason football. T-Money, you got to be excited.
Oh yeah, starting to do some mock drafts, getting the Bengals gear out from, storage. It's becoming that time of year. Hopefully it starts getting a little cooler into those Sunday football days. I cannot wait to wake up, have some coffee, and watch some football. It's coming. It's right around the corner.
Yeah. I like it. You're sporting that 101, round 101 fantasy pick, Jamar Chase there. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's your 101 pick, man. Hey, Friday night football under the lights. You remember back in high school, Team Money, Friday night football? The band starts playing, the lights go on, people just get excited. That's what we got this week. No
Oh
Thursday
yeah.
games. We're going right to Friday night and kicking it off with the Titans and the Falcons,
Ooh,
but
bang.
followed up by the Chiefs and the Seahawks in the late
Get a
game.
little better. Yeah. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Any
Yeah.
football is good football.
That's true. That's true. Hey, you like T-Money? Do us a favor. Press the like and subscribe button, everybody. Help us to continue to bring you the fun. And hey, seems like yesterday when these two guys behind me, T-Money, hosted the Lombardi Trophy. How about these two guys, man? They're looking good, aren't they? What do you think? How confident are you that the Eagles are going to repeat?
This is tough. Repeating is tough. You're looking at only legendary quarterbacks recently to do this stuff. The Tom Brady's and the Patrick Mahomeses. This isn't something that happens regularly. But this is an all-time roster. So I am confident this team's going to be good. Their win total is surprisingly low at only 11 and a half. That shocks me that it's not even higher at how good this roster is, how many people they brought back. They are projected to win that division, pretty easily, make the playoffs pretty easily. So I don't know if they're going to be able to flip a switch when they're like, okay, it's playoffs, it's go time. Like the Chiefs have kind of been able to do in the past because they're so used to being in the playoff churn. But look, I think they're going to run into the fact that everybody had such a perfect season last year. Saquon was the best running back and had one of the best running back seasons ever. A.J. Brown was elite. Devontae Smith was elite. The defense was elite. The offensive line was elite. There was no injuries. Jalen Hurts played perfect in the playoffs. Like, if one of those things doesn't happen, does this team fall apart? And so I'm not going to project them to win again. That's just a tough thing to do in the NFL. But when you look at the NFC competition, like they murdered the Washington Commanders. That's the team that's favored next in the NFC. They beat the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs. The Rams better hope they get the better seed in the playoffs so they can get home field. San Francisco not looking that great. A lot of people that let go in free agency. Detroit Lions, they lost both coordinators. There's a lot of question marks in the NFC right now. Stafford's health with the Rams. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, can they get over the edge? There's just so many questions, whereas they're so established. I can see them making the Super Bowl.
Well, we know that it can be done, the repeat, and as everybody knows, the Chiefs just did it. They were going for the three-peat last year, all of you. Remember that? And they came up short. You know why they came up short, T-Money? We went back and looked at the 9 successful back-to-back Super Bowl bids. And you know what the common trait was that Kansas City missed last year? Defense.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steel Curtain. The Patriots defenses. Philly last year against the Chiefs shut them down. And Philly does lost some defensive players, but they've also got some young guys that are great, like Cooper DeJean. They still got Jalen Carter. They got a great core, and they got T-Money, Vic Fangio. It's the defense and that running game that is going to get them there.
No, yeah, you're totally right. And, I don't see major threats. That's the big thing. We talk about this all the time. The
No major
AFC's
threats.
top teams are so much tougher. Even Bengals who maybe sneak into the playoffs, nobody
Yeah,
wants to see them in the playoffs, even though they might not be one of the top four teams in the AFC. So when you
yeah.
look down the roster in the NFC, like we said, G, they just don't have a lot of competition and they're beating everyone who is in the NFC. So it's a
Well,
tough one.
the the one that everybody, I mean, the Rams and 49ers have been down, so is Tampa. So the one that's been there is the Lions, but losing their OC, I think is going to hurt
And their
them.
DC.
And they're DC, so did they regress back? Who's going to take on Philly? I agree with you. And guess what, fantasy people? If Philly does repeat, Saquon and Jalen Hurts are your fantasy league winners. And I don't care what book AJ Brown's reading on the sidelines. Remember, boys, the running the football last year did it. AJ, you get your new book and you sit on the sideline because Saquon and Jalen are going to ride this thing all the way again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
But hey, let's we got these two guys behind me and Sariana and Jalen Hurts, and they did it together. And what we're going to talk about next, Team Money, about these coach and these quarterback combinations. It's these coaches and quarterbacks together that go on these magical runs. The Chiefs now have won have 9 consecutive years. They've won 7 years together as Reed and Mahomes together. Remember, Mahomes was a rookie in 2017.
Yeah.
They already
Alex
already had
Smith.
won to yes, Alex Smith. He was a backup to Alex Smith. So the streak began in 2016. Will someone dethrone the Chiefs team money this year in the AFC West?
Hey, that's a great question. I mean, it's impressive. Longest streak ever. The Patriots from '09 to 19, 11 years. So they're 2 years away from setting this record, 3 years away from beating it. Look,
Yeah,
I think this might be the best coached division in the NFL. I mean, the legends on these coaching staffs, Kansas City with Reed, Denver
yeah.
Broncos, Sean Payton, Chargers with Harbaugh, Vegas with Pete Carroll. All four are going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's a loaded coaching staff. So it's going to come down to who's got the next best quarterback. Geno Smith in that Raiders roster, just not good enough. I really like them as a sleeper pick to make the playoffs. I like them a lot, but that's just a feel good more than it is anything else. But the Chargers and Broncos are coming for their heads, and Harbaugh's going to run it down your throat. Sean Payton's a great play designer. And, I personally cannot see anyone dethroning this team until someone does. Kind of like we keep saying in the AFC, someone has to beat the Chiefs before I can believe someone can beat the Chiefs. Like I just
Yeah.
cannot give this division over to Bo Nix. Like, does that sound right? Like Bo Nix is your division winner? Like, no, no.
Well,
I don't see it happening this year, G. I don't think the Chargers have the weapons, and they're clearly scared of even letting Herbert throw. Broncos, Bo Nix is not that guy yet, and we'll see how good that defense really was. When you look at the quarterbacks they played, it kind of skewed how good that defense actually was. A lot of backups and really bad quarterbacks. So I'm sticking with the Chiefs. I don't think
I
anyone's
agree.
coming close.
It's interesting, looking at these. I agree with you. I'm looking at these coach quarterback combinations. Reed is just so good. Offensive mind. He's talked to other players around the league, and the defensive guys are like, we don't know what scheme they're going to throw at us. It's just Reed is so good. And he's got Mahomes, and they're unstoppable together. And
Yeah,
it's not just, they might lose the AFC West, but will they lose the AFC? They've been to 7 straight
yeah,
AFC championship games. Even if they don't win the
crazy.
AFC West, I think they still could get to the AFC
I
championship
agree.
games.
I
Out
agree.
of the 7, they went on to the Super Bowl and they won 3 of the 5. These guys are unstoppable, and I don't know who's going to stop them. I like this division, though. I agree with your points. With these coaches, they're so. I mean, Sean Payton, great offensive mind also, and he's won a Super Bowl. Him and Drew Brees. Could he team up with Bo Nix? I think that's the best combination of quarterback coach out of these other 3.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean Herbert Harbaugh personally. Pretty crazy. All these coaches have, either won a national championship in college or a Super
Yeah.
Bowl, and Harbaugh's been to a Super Bowl. Pretty elite company. Just awesome to even watch these games, really. And I think the big thing with the Chiefs is we know they're going to win 12 games. We know what they're going to do. So I think the big thing is going to be, can someone else win 13? And that's where I can't see Bo Nix winning 13 games.
But I mentioned last week that you fantasy guys, the Broncos and Chargers are in the hunt, and if Bo Nix or Justin Herbert wins this division, you can ride them to the fantasy title, baby, because they're going to get the NFL MVP and they're going to ride you home if they can do it. T Money. Hey, I was going to give you a little quiz. I can't believe you got it already on who has the longest streak, and you already told me, doggone it. I was going to give you a
Wow.
little quiz,
So,
but you're right. Belichick, Brady have the 9 year streak.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so very, very good. Chiefs 9 year, Patriots 11. So, hey, let's go to another combination and looking at these quarterback coach combinations today. We got looking over to Jacksonville. We got Liam Cohn coming in from Tampa Bay. He was the OC there, came in now, and his main job, T Money, was to reignite Trevor Lawrence, develop him as the superstar we thought he would be. Liam Cohn and Trevor Lawrence combined together. Can they do it this year in Jacksonville? Do you expect them to have a great year and the Jags team to have a great year?
Oh man, I feel bad for the Jags fans. I just can't see it yet. I really like Brian Thomas Jr. I really like Travis Hunter. The running backs are okay. Trevor Lawrence seems to be okay. They're projected for 7.5 wins this year. They just don't have, this elite talent at a lot of the positions you need. Like everyone seems to just be okay, and Trevor Lawrence has shown flashes, but he's okay. You look at the teams he's projected around. The Dolphins with Tua has shown flashes of being a great offense. The Kyler Murrays of the world have shown flashes, but they can't be consistent day in and day out. Now, Liam Cohen helped take Baker Mayfield to the next level, so maybe he can help Trevor Lawrence with that jump. But I just think the AFC is too deep and too good this year for them to crack a playoff berth. They would basically have to win their division, which means beating the Texans and CJ Stroud. It's not impossible. That offensive line is not great for the Texans, so that could be a problem. They traded away Tunsil. It's a conversation for another day, but I think
Yeah.
that's their only way in. They better hope that either the Texans blow up this year or they just sneak in and beat the Texans because they're not getting in any other way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at Trevor Lawrence's performance and his results since 2022, he's declining. Can
Yeah,
he get it back on track? Here's his injuries 2023 injuries. Week 6, knee sprain. Week 13, high ankle sprain. Week 15, concussion. Week 16, AC joint sprain.
crazy.
2024, two repeat injuries. Week 9, severe AC joint sprain. Week 13, another concussion. He's got to get his health back. He's got to get on the field if they're going to have any chance.
Yeah, totally agree. Like you said, his stats have gone down. He was 21st in passer rating last year, and that's below average. And you're hoping the guy that you gave $200 million, is closer to the top 10 than he is the bottom 10. So, not looking great for him. But like I said, Liam Cohen turned Baker Mayfield, to another level. He was good with the Browns. He looks great now, and so maybe he sprinkles a little bit of that pixie dust on Trevor Lawrence.
Pixie dust. That's what we need. But this looks like a repeat of last year to me, Team Money.
Me too.
Texans 10-7 last year. The other three teams all have losing records. Texans are the best team in this division. I
Yeah,
think they win it again. CJ Stroud and Texans coach D'Amico Ryans, they are in NFL history, Team Money, as one of three quarterback coach duos to win at least one playoff game in each of their first two seasons. You believe that?
impressive. Impressive.
Yeah. I don't know who the three are, but the second one is Flacco. Flacco and John Harbaugh
That's
are
funny.
actually, yeah. But these Texans, man, they got a great coach quarterback combination. They're going to keep on doing. Hey, do you want more entertaining father son NFL camaraderie to keep your NFL buzz going? We got you covered. Do us a favor. press the like and subscribe. And Team Money, you got an announcement about a new sponsor. What? Tell us about the new sponsor we got going here.
Oh yeah, got a great sponsor. Really excited. We're going to be partnering up with one of my favorite golf brands, and that's Pins and Aces. Pins and Aces does everything from golf bags, polos, women's apparel, men's apparel, hats, gloves. I personally have multiple of their gear. I just got their bag last year, my brand new golf bag that I upgraded to. I
Ah,
love their everything that they have, and they're going to be a great partner of ours. So, make sure you use our code FSHF to get 15% off of all your purchases with Pins and Aces.
yeah, is that FSHS or H
No, with an F.
football? Okay,
Yes.
good. FSHF, I got it down. Team Money, great job on that. All right, and check it out, everybody. Let's go on and cover another question here for you, Team Money. Another guy that had a great year last year, Jayden Daniels. We all know CJ Stroud had that sophomore slump after winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, and now Jayden Daniels wins Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. And will he have the sophomore slump, Team Money?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what everyone's wondering, right? Jayden Daniels, sophomore slump here. I'm gonna say no.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to say no. Now, I do not think that they are going to be as good, win as many games. Like that was just sort of an outlier. I think their record wise, they will come down, more towards the middle of the pack. They're only projected for 9.5 wins. I think they can win 10 games. They'll get into the playoffs. They're not going to win their division. The Eagles are too good. But Jayden Daniels only threw the 16th most passing yards in the league last year. Only had 25 touchdowns. So I think there's room for him to grow. Like it wasn't such an outlier season where you're like, man, those stats that someone like Joe Burrow put up last year, that may be hard to replicate. That was elite stats. The
yeah.
step back is more likely. Whereas here, he was kind of middle of the road, but he was so dynamic as an elusive rusher of the ball, setting the rookie record for most quarterback rushing yards at 891. That's where he can really help his sophomore slump is his elusiveness, being able to use his feet if his arms aren't working. And he's actually a phenomenal, accurate passer. He was fourth or he had the highest by NFL rookie completion percentage last year, 69%. So again, he's really accurate with the ball. So I don't see a lot of regression coming because there's a lot of room to grow. And so I really like what he can do. I like Jayden Daniels. I was talking about him before the draft that I really was high on him. And I don't think there's a regression from him, but I think there will be from a team wins perspective.
Well, I think there's a regression for him, T Money. I think he's going to regress, but fantasy players, don't worry. He's going to run like T Money said. He'll get you some running, he'll get
Yeah.
you some touchdowns running, and he'll throw some balls, but he's regressing, man. And you know why there's a sophomore slump, T Money? Because people figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
We're talking about the brightest defensive minds in the world on the other side of the ball, and now they know what Jayden Daniels does, and they're going to prepare for it. Trust me, they're going to shut him down on some of those games. They're going to shut him down. He's not going to go and hit him sometimes, T Money. Going to go up against the defense that knows what he does. They're going to shut him down, man. He's not
Yeah.
Lamar yet. He's not Lamar Jackson yet, but he might be someday. But it's
Yeah.
very common because people start to figure you out. Plus, T Money, they depend on him so much. If you look at the teams favored to win the Super Bowl and look at the players favored for the MVP. You know, Jayden Daniels in fifth, or sorry, fourth, favored to win the MVP.
Crazy.
And there's not one Philly guy up there at the
Yeah.
top because they have more weapons, they have more of a team, and the Commanders are depending on Jayden Daniels, and that means the defense is really going to focus in. And Terry McLaurin's not even practicing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally agree. I think the other thing is the most likely case for regression is that his weapons are not what some of these elite teams are. You're talking about the Saquons, the
Yeah,
AJ Browns. Joe Burrow's got,
right.
Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. when you look at his weapons, they're pretty mediocre. Terry McLaurin's your number one. Debo Samuel, who looks, maybe out of his prime, is your two. Who's your running back? Brian Robinson Jr., maybe the 15th, 18th best running back in the league. Like their weapons are not what
That's
what they
true.
could be. So I think that could potentially hurt him too. Is he doesn't have a guy like Jamar Chase where you can just throw the ball up and he's going to be open. So I think that
Yeah.
that could be something of a reason why he might take a step back.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also looking at that NFC East, the Cowboys should be improved this year. The Cowboys did not make the playoffs. I think they have a great shot at making the playoffs this year with Dak back and getting rejuvenated, I think, under Dak. The Giants are going to be better. And they'll have Russ. They're going to be better. They've got some offensive weapons. So, I mean, I think this division is going to get tougher. I think Washington does come back to maybe 9 or 10 wins instead of 12.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Hey, agree. Hey, let's talk a little fantasy here for the
Let's do
fantasy
it.
managers. You fantasy guys, are you ready to win your league? I hope you won it last year, at least got into the cash. But let's get you ready for this year. And we want to talk about the biggest bust. Guys that we're not going to draft T Money. And I want you to start with quarterback T Money. And you tell me out of the top 12, who's one that you are not going to touch?
All right. I'm not touching the guy that I think is the best in the league, and that's
Ooh,
Patrick Mahomes. Okay.
whoa.
I am not going to draft Patrick Mahomes anywhere in my fantasy drafts this year. He's going off the board around QB6 right now. In the past 2 years, he's been QB11 and QB10. All right. And then the 2 years before that, he was QB3 and QB4. So you're drafting him close to what his ceiling is, he was QB1 back in the day with, Tyreek Hill, but that was a long time ago. This is different now. They are a structured offense. They just do what they need to win, rely on the run game. They don't have Rashee Rice potentially to start the year, and they lost DeAndre Hopkins. Kelsey's another year older. Their offensive line is shaky. Andy Reid's going to want to protect this guy. So that's a guy I don't want to draft purely because I think they're just saving it for the playoffs. And I need a
Yeah.
guy that I can rely on to go run in some touchdowns, what they don't want Mahomes doing. And that's throwing it all over the yard, which they don't do. They're very accurate, dink and dunk, make sure they're getting first down. So Patrick Mahomes, I love. Best quarterback in the league, but he's on my do not draft list at his current price tag.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Good pick right there. For all the reasons you just said, I agree. I'm going to go out of the top 12 to number 9 on the ranking I'm looking at. And that's Kyler Murray. Finished as QB 12 last year. He's ranked QB 9. He was 18 points a game last year. In fact, the last 3 seasons, Team Money, he's averaged between 18 and 19 points per game. And the issue with Kyler Murray is volatility, Team Money. He's a
Yeah.
frustrating guy to own. Last year, he had 5 top 5 weekly finishes, averaging 26 fantasy points per game. But the other games, he was QB 15 or lower. So which week is he going to have that great game?
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't want to play with that. I don't know where his arms at. His passing seems weak. He can't get it down the field with accuracy. He's ranked 20th in yards per attempt and high accurate throw rate. He's 20th. So he's not getting it down the field. His rushing has to be there for him to be a great fantasy player. And that's what he's been doing to stay up there. Can he keep it going? I don't know. I'm not going for him.
Totally agree, G man. I like the sentiment there. I am all about consistency, over the, overall points per game. I'd rather take a guy I know can get consistent points
Yeah.
per game than 1 point more and 1 point less projection wise. So I agree. I don't like the volatility. I would agree with you to stay away at that price tag right now.
Hey, you're getting advice here, fantasy managers, from two of the best in fantasy right here, T Money and G Man. Let's go, baby. Well, I'm ready. Let's go running back. Top 24. I'll give you T Money. You pick anyone out of the top 24. Who are you not going to draft?
I'm 24 right now. There are some guys that are, could be a little touch and go. Saquon possibly regressing. Christian McCaffrey's injuries. You go a little further down. Is Josh Jacobs going to get that many touchdowns as most ever? Things like that. But I'm looking at Kenneth Walker. All right.
Oh,
Kenneth Walker, on a per touch basis, statistically, is one of the best running backs in the league. He is a very, very odd case of when he gets the ball, he produces. But he's so injury prone. This guy misses so many games over the past couple
Yeah.
years that his team cannot rely on him. And you, as a fantasy manager, cannot rely on him at this price tag. And not only that, he might be the RB1 with the best backup in the league. They love Zach Charbonnet, and Zach Charbonnet is a producer. When he touches the ball, he also is an RB1 when Kenneth Walker is gone. And so I think there's going to be more of a battle than people believe. He's the best handcuff in the league behind him in Charbonnet. They have a new OC, so who knows what's going to happen there. The regime that's there didn't draft Kenneth Walker. So I just think there's a lot of question marks. I love him on a per touch basis, maybe in Dynasty if you were able to get him, but there's guys around him, the Breece Halls, the Alvin Kamaras, James Connors. I would rather have those guys knowing they're solidified roles in that offense and they're a little healthier. I'll take them, if I'm drafting around him.
Good point. Good point. I like that call. Kenneth Walker, great when he's on the field, but man, he misses so much time. It's just killer. If you're going to get Kenneth Walker, you got to get Charbonnet. And you've got to look, you guys that are drafting running backs, look at the gap and wide receivers. Look at the gap between the starter and his handcuff. You look at this
Exactly.
gap. Kenneth Walker's at 15, ranked 15. Zach Charbonnet's 35. They're very close. They're
Yeah.
both very capable. All right, I'm going to go to the guy right next to Kenneth Walker in the rankings at number 14, Breece Hall, Team Money. Last year, he
Okay.
was number 17 in fantasy points per game. He produced adequately. He ranked 15th in explosive run rate, 16th in yards per after contact, 5th in receiving yards per game. You know why? Because Aaron Rodgers was checking down to him. You know that was happening. That's
Yeah.
why his receiving yards are going to regress. Justin Fields will not do that. Plus, you got Justin Fields running. I think he comes back. Brees
Yeah.
Hall comes back. The coach even said, Eric Glenn has stated, Team Money, that they're going to use a committee in the backfield with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I'd like Brees Hall. I just don't like him at number 14.
Yeah, yeah, super weird. Where I think in Dynasty, this guy might be better if he goes to another team after his rookie year or rookie contract's up. Like he has the ability. He's a phenomenal receiving back. He's just it's not his coaching staff that drafted him. I like him a lot too, G, but I'm a little scared. So I'd be weary if I was someone drafting Brees Hall this year. Justin Fields is going to get a lot of goal line touches, steal some of those touchdowns, a lot of rushing. So yeah, I
Yeah.
like your pick.
Oh, thank you, T Money. Hey, working our way to the end of the show, everybody. Fantasy managers, one more tip for you coming from us. T Money, wide receiver, in the top 24, you're not going to touch.
All right, right now at his price tag, I'm taking one of the top wide receiver twos off my board, and that's Devontae Smith. All right, I like Devontae Smith a lot. I
Oh,
think he has the upside, to potentially be a wide receiver one day, but he has a ceiling. He is never going to be a wide receiver one as long as AJ Brown is on that football field, and especially when Jalen Hurts is one of the least throwers of the football in the league. The league averages 32 a game. Jalen Hurts, they want to keep under 30 a game. They were on a 10-0 winning streak when he averaged 28 throws a game. So they're going to keep him under 30 throws. It's just the domino effects there. Look, at last year, he was a wide receiver one when AJ Brown went out. He was phenomenal. But when AJ Brown came back in the later parts of the year, he averaged 13 points per game. So I feel like I'm drafting him right now at his handcuffed ceiling as a wide receiver too, hoping AJ Brown gets hurt. And that's the only way I get my money back. Whereas I look around the other guys, McMillan could be a wide receiver one. You go a little further down, Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave. There's guys around there that I like, the DK Metcalfs, Cortland Sutton, right around that area that are gonna be wide receiver ones on their team, have much higher ceilings and don't rely on someone getting hurt. So
yeah, yeah.
he's a guy that scares me a little bit.
Good pick. Good pick. I like your points, and that's interesting. You look at that combination. Devontae Smith is 23rd in ranking. I'm going to zero in on some guys that are in that range. Tyreek Hill is the guy I'm going to stay away from. T Money. Tyreek Hill ranked 15th, and his backup is wide receiver two, Jalen Waddle, is at 25, right by Devontae Smith. Jalen Waddle. And I think Jalen Waddle's going to get catches, his usual amount, maybe a little more. Tyreek, I'm concerned about. He's mentally losing it sometimes.
Yeah,
And that team, I'm worried about Mike McDaniel in the locker room and what's going on
yeah.
with this team. Are they going to produce? And Tyreek, father time is undefeated. He's 31. His success has been built around speed. I looked up a stat called route win rate, T Money, by Fantasy Points Data. He was 48th. We're talking about all these guys that are 20, the top 24. He was 48th in the league in getting open, 48th
Wow.
in route win rate. He's not getting open. He was wide receiver 24 when Tua was in the game last year, but he's still not getting the ball down the field. 36 in yards per route run, 33rd in receiving yards per game. So I like him, at a lower number, but not at wide receiver 15.
Great stats pulling by G Man there. I like it. And I agree, G. He's a scary one to get this year. He's kind of that Kyler Murray boomer bust. You're going to have games where he's going to have 30, and then you're going to have a couple games where he has five. So if you're okay with that volatility, that's fine. But G Man and I might stay away.
Hey, all right. Sounds good, Team Money. Good tips yourself. Nice job. That's it for today's show. We'll be adding big bets to the show in a few weeks. Be ready for that. Father Son Sports is 60% against the spread with with our best bets, everybody. Enjoy Friday night under the lights football this week. We hope you had fun hanging out with us. Father Son Football loves bringing you the energy on behalf of Team Money. I'm G Man. See you next week.
Peace.